My sister was adopted by a wealthy family. Later, my younger sister failed in her dirty attempt to seduce our adoptive brother and became a laughingstock in high society. In a fit of anger, the wealthy man kicked her out of the house, leaving her to fend for herself. Meanwhile, I won 30 million, moved into a villa, and was relentlessly pursued by my crush at first sight, living out a sweet romance every day. Consumed by resentment, my sister ran me over with her car and killed me. When I opened my eyes again, my sister was crying and clinging to our parents, promising to give all her future earnings to our brother. Her words struck a chord with them, so they pushed me, the more dull-witted one, toward the wealthy man. Before I was taken away, my sister smirked triumphantly. "Sister, I'm giving you the fate of being cast out of a rich family." I laughed too. This patriarchal household was all hers to enjoy now. Penny immediately pushed me away, hugged our parents, and hypocritically wiped away non-existent tears. "Mom and Dad, please don't send me away. I don't want to leave you. I'll be good from now on, take good care of you, and give all the money I earn to my little brother. Anything sister can do, I can do too." My parents exchanged glances and then directly pushed me in front of the wealthy couple. "All right then, we'll sell this one to you." Penny raised her head, looking at me provocatively, as if anticipating my future days of hardship. The wealthy man beside me patted my shoulder and whispered, "What's your name, little girl?" I blinked my eyes and answered sweetly, "I am Doggy Duncan. Would you like to come with us?" I nodded obediently, lowering my eyes demurely. "I'm willing, I'll follow your arrangements completely." "Dad, Mom," the wealthy couple looked quite satisfied, casting a brief glance at my birth parents. "Don't worry. The money will be transferred to your account shortly." My birth parents bowed and scraped in gratitude to the rich couple, paying no attention to me whatsoever. This was only natural. After all, in their eyes, there's only their precious son. Whether they sell me or sell Penny, it makes no difference. In her past life, Penny thought she could live a life above others. When the wealthy couple came to our home, she actively begged them to take her away, while subtly belittling me in her words, afraid they might choose me instead. This time, she's simply convinced she'll follow the same path as my past self, winning the lottery, living in a villa, and being pursued by her dream man. She resolutely chose to stay at home, but how could she know? No matter what choice she made, she would fail, from beginning to end. It was always a problem with people. The wealthy couple was about to take me away when Penny broke free from her parents' arms and ran up to me. "Big sister, can I talk to you for a while?" I looked up at the wealthy couple, who nodded and released my hand. After Penny pulled me aside, she immediately let go of my hand, dropped her pretense, and revealed a gleeful expression. "Doggy Duncan, you should thank me. It's my great mercy that lets you experience the life of a wealthy family. But well, enjoy this moment while it lasts. You'll have a miserable life from now on. As for me, I'm about to become the heroine of this novel. Everyone will envy me. Dear sister, I'm gifting you the fate of being expelled from a rich family." I smiled coldly and gripped her wrist tightly. "Is that so? Then I'll be looking forward to your performance, my dear little sister." Penny cried out in pain and was about to pull her hand away when I smoothly released my grip and gave her a push. She staggered back several steps, glaring at me furiously. Her expression looked as if she wanted to skin me alive, but she wouldn't dare. After all, my current status is somewhat nobler than hers now. I smiled, turned my head away, and without even glancing at my birth parents, walked up to the wealthy couple, took their hands, and left with them. My new parents first took me to change my name and register my household registration. They used their money power, and got it done quickly. My name changed from Doggy Duncan to Nancy James, the same name Penny changed to in her past life. I didn't think there was anything wrong with it. At least it's better than the name Doggy. I had just returned to James' house with Mr. and Mrs. James when I ran into their useless son, Jack. Jack stood on the stairs, looking down at me arrogantly. "Tisk, old man, is this the kid you adopted? Looks malnourished, shifty-eyed, doesn't seem like a good sort at all. Hey old man, have you lost your mind? Marrying some barren mistress is bad enough, but now you're raising someone else's kid too. Why don't you just focus on raising your own son properly, or are you trying to let outsiders compete with your own flesh and blood for the family fortune?" Mr. James frowned and said displeasedly, "Jack, get back to your room. If you'd given me less trouble, we wouldn't be in this mess." I glanced at Mrs. James beside me, her lips pressed tightly together, fingers digging painfully into her palms. Jack let out a mocking laugh, his face full of disdain. "Hey, country bumpkin, I'm talking to you." I lowered my head and ignored him outright. "Jack, visibly annoyed, hurled the water cup in his hand straight at me. I didn't dodge. Mrs. James pulled me into her arms and blocked the water glass with her hand. Mr. James was instantly heartbroken, holding Mrs. James and fussing over her. Mrs. James shook her head with a smile and pulled me over to examine me. Nancy, are you okay? Don't be angry with your brother. He's just a bit straightforward. I obediently nodded and took Mrs. James' hand. Mom. Dad, I won't be angry with my brother. Mr. James patted my shoulder approvingly, then looked up at Jack with disgust. Get back to your bedroom. Next time you pull this stunt, I'll ship you abroad myself. Jack shot me a resentful glare before leaving unwillingly. I couldn't help clicking my tongue. What a complicated family. The truth is, Mr. and Mrs. James adopted a girl not simply because Mrs. James couldn't conceive. Mr. James just wanted to use this child to curry favor with the young master of the wealthiest family, Eric Green. After all, he already had a good-for-nothing son. As for Mrs. James, she was more than eager to adopt a child to divert Mr. James's attention. If Mrs. James's family had had a child of suitable age, it probably wouldn't have been our turn. What a pity Jack, this spoiled rich kid, couldn't grasp Mr. James' meaning. In his past life, he gave Penny endless trouble. Penny's thought process was baffling. She somehow developed feelings for Jack instead. Jack deliberately strung Penny along, treating her like a dog, making Penny do vulgar, shameless things. Penny truly was a good dog, obediently doing whatever she was told. In the end, it was Jack who grew tired of playing around and exposed all her private photos online. The James couple were furious and immediately kicked her out of the James household. Penny had nowhere to go, so she came looking for me, only to find that I had won the lottery and moved into a grand villa. She also heard that I was being relentlessly pursued by the campus heartthrob, leaving everyone green with envy. She grew jealous and took advantage of my absence to kill me by running me over with my own car. Little did she know it would send us both back to the day we were adopted. Pity Penny died once without ever figuring it out. She thought choosing a different path would let her become as fortunate as me, a winner in life, but in that patriarchal family, mere luck wasn't enough to escape. After resting at James' house for a few days while waiting for my school transfer to be processed, I started going to school with Jack. The moment we stepped out, Jack bumped straight into me. Country bumpkin, listen up, don't you dare mention our relationship at school, or else, you'll see what I'll do to you. With that, he shook his head and walked forward with his hands in his pockets. I chuckled softly, jogged up beside him, and deliberately bumped into him. Jack was caught off guard and staggered several steps from the impact. He froze for a moment before flying into a rage. You wanna die? I arched an eyebrow at him. Big bro, you bumped into me first. I'm just returning the favor. What's the problem? An eye for an eye. Fair's fair, right? And seems like Big Bro forgot. Even though I transferred to the same school, we're not in the same class. My grades are better than yours, so I went straight to the honors class. Unlike you, I gave him a disdainful once-over. Unlike Big Brother, ranked at the bottom of your grade, even Dad's money couldn't keep you in the honors class. Jack was furious and immediately grabbed me by the collar. Nancy James, are you looking to die? How dare you talk to me like that? Believe me, I'll make you regret it. Just wait till I tell Dad. Let's see how he deals with you. I smirked disdainfully. Go ahead. At worst, he'll just give me a verbal warning. It's not like he'd kick me out of the James family, right? Such a child only knows how to call for parents. Only Penny, that coward, would be intimidated by Jack. Dealing with Jack, a bully who preys on the weak but fears the strong, isn't about being obedient and sensible. Jack was extremely displeased with my attitude and raised his fist to strike. I glanced at the door being opened and quickly curled up, covering my face with my hands, trembling as I spoke. Brother, don't hit me, don't hit me. Jack widened his eyes in disbelief as he looked at me. You damn woman, stop pretending, watch me beat you to death. The next second, a leather shoe smacked right into Jack's face. Jack yelped in pain, clutching his face as he turned around and shouted. Who the hell did that, mister? James stood fuming at the door, pointing at Jack and cursing loudly. You're the blind one. It hasn't even been 5 minutes and you're already bullying your sister. Looks like you're itching for a beating. Need some discipline. Is that it? Forget about going to school today. Get your ass inside. Jack instantly lost his nerve the moment he saw Mr. James. He glared at me resentfully and walked home unwillingly. I turned back and saw Mrs. James exchanging a knowing smile. I deliberately had Mrs. James lure Mr. James out. She wants to ruin Jack. I just want less trouble. My goals align perfectly with hers, so there's no need for me to oppose her. Besides, staying at James's place these days and constantly trying to please Mr. and Mrs. James wasn't for nothing. Mr. James is a selfish man, a businessman who only cares about profit. He only treats well those who follow his wishes and have value to exploit. Mrs. James wanted more than just the position of the James family's matriarch. She desired far greater things. In truth, during her previous life, when Penny first arrived at the James household, the family treated her decently enough. After all, back then, Penny would flaunt her luxury brand outfits in front of me every day, but she chose the wrong path herself, failing to grasp the James family's political landscape. She thought that by attaching herself to Jack, becoming doubly connected to the James family, she would no longer face the risk of abandonment and could maintain this extravagant lifestyle forever. But she didn't know that not all families favor sons over daughters. At least in the James family, Jack could never truly gain his father's approval. Jack was grounded, so I went to the new school alone. As soon as I entered the classroom, all eyes turned toward me, except for one person, Eric Green. He was lowering his head, spinning his pen idly. As expected, Mr. James wouldn't miss any opportunity to make me interact with Eric Green. I didn't pay much attention, stepped onto the platform to introduce myself briefly, then took my seat as arranged by the homeroom teacher. In my previous life, I didn't meet Eric Green until after entering university. This time it's happening earlier. However, I don't plan to get too involved with Eric Green right now. My top priority still needs to be studying. In my past life, I stayed at the Duncan household. After my biological parents received the money from selling Penny, they used it to buy piles of clothes and toys for their precious son, then went out for a lavish meal as a family of 3. They left me at home to clean the house. When they finally returned, they merely tossed me 2 steamed buns as my meal. My 10-year-old brother, acting like a little tyrant, punched me in the stomach. "You stinking girl, you should be grateful for these 2 buns. Hurry up and eat them before getting back to cleaning, and don't forget to wash my underwear too." Meanwhile, my parents stood by clapping joyfully, praising their son's capability. When the school term began, they didn't even let me continue my education. Study, 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 study my ass, no money, get out and earn your keep. Yet at that time they'd clearly accepted 50,000 yuan from James' family. I spoke up, only to be met with a brutal beating. I had to drop out of school early, take under-the-table jobs, and come home to care for their family of 3. Unwilling to accept this fate, I persisted in self-study, using my hard-earned wages to buy practice problems and drill endlessly, surviving on just 3 or 4 hours of sleep each night. When the time came to register for exams, I secretly took the household registration booklet and went to the Education Bureau to sign up for the college entrance exams. My academic foundation was never weak to begin with, and coupled with diligent studying and practicing exam questions, I performed exceptionally well in the college entrance exams and got admitted to a top-tier 985 university. When I received the admission letter, I was overjoyed and carefully tucked it inside my clothes. I lied to Duncan's family, saying there was a job opportunity in another province that could earn me a lot of money. I sweet-talked them extensively, promising that all the money I earned in the future would be spent on my younger brother. They were very satisfied and agreed. While they weren't paying attention, I took the household register and separated my own residency. Their minds were completely focused on their precious son, utterly unaware of me. After completing everything, I took my savings and left Duncan's house. In my previous life, I managed to carve a path out of that soul-crushing household through sheer academic effort. Given a second chance, I'm confident I can succeed once more. I have no intention of staying permanently at James' house. If I remained at James' house, I'd inevitably be forced by Mr. James to curry favor with Eric Green. If I fail, Mr. James will absolutely show no mercy and kick me out of the James household. Mrs. James won't plead for me either, but I refuse. Others may not understand Eric Green, but I know him all too well. His pursuit of me in his past life was never what you'd call love at first sight. By chance, I overheard Eric Green's phone conversation with someone. Hearing their talk made me finally understand Eric Green's behavior. His sister had suddenly been diagnosed with cancer and was facing imminent death. He coveted my body, my background of having no one to rely on. He said to the person on the phone, "Doggy, just hearing this name shows her family doesn't care about her. If she dies, she dies. No one will come looking for trouble. People from the bottom like her. Just tease them a little and they fall for it. Doesn't even take any effort. She's about the same size as Nina, and not bad-looking either. Her body's clean. Swapping Nina into her would be the best choice. At first, I didn't understand Eric Green's meaning when he said, switch it onto me. It wasn't until later, through conversations with people around him, that I gradually pieced together the truth. Eric Green's family, besides their legitimate business, was secretly involved in unsavory dealings. Eric Green's family had developed a technology that could completely transfer a person's soul and consciousness into another body. The swapped individual would suffer immediate brain death. Eric Green's family had perfected this technology to maturity, even establishing an entire industrial chain that specifically targeted marginalized individuals to abduct for selection by the powerful within their circle. Eric Green searched extensively but couldn't find a body that satisfied him, and it was precisely at this moment that he encountered me. After learning the truth, I began subtly guiding Eric Green to spend money on me. Since he was openly pursuing me, it was only natural he'd have to put in some effort and pay a price. When I said I needed him, he immediately transferred me $200,000. I refused, saying I didn't want his money. I wanted to earn it myself. I casually mentioned to Eric Green that I had bought lottery tickets. When the results were announced, I became that lucky winner who took home the grand prize. This money was all legally obtained. With the winnings, I bought a villa, invested a portion, and donated the remainder entirely to charity. While stringing along Eric Green, I seized the opportunity to call the police. The police were already investigating the Green family and had been gathering evidence of their crimes. Working with the police, I planned to find concrete evidence to expose the Green family and rescue those innocent people who had been abducted. Just as I was invited to the Green family's home, Penny ended up killing me in a collision. Penny really deserves to die. Fortunately, I've been reborn. This time, I won't just save myself. I'll also save those harmed by the Green family. It's just a shame my current abilities are limited. Now isn't the ideal time to approach the Green family, but I've found Officer Lee, who handled my case in my past life. He's an extremely righteous policeman. Even though there are no leads yet, he wouldn't just ignore it. I told him Green's family matter, and he promised me he would investigate. All I can do now is wait. I buried myself in studying again. With memories from my past life, studying became much easier for me, and I scored first place in the entire grade on my first mock exam. As for Penny, I hadn't heard any news about her for quite some time. According to this time in my past life, she should have also been forced to drop out of school and stay at home as a babysitter. I wonder if she has the ability to escape that household, perhaps because of my constant thoughts. It wasn't long before I ran into Penny at the school gate. She had grown much thinner, weakly grabbing my wrist. Yet her first words were full of accusations. Doggy Duncan, was it you who schemed behind my back? Why was I locked up at home, not even allowed to go to school? Didn't you go to college in your past life? I'll have you know, I'm destined for greatness. You'd better wise up and start buttering me up now. Maybe I'll spare your life and put in a good word for you someday. I was able to attend college because of my own hard work. I never gave up on studying. She's not me. How can she be so certain she's the same as my past self? Suppressing a smile, I gently released her hand. How do you want me to help you? Penny rolled her eyes mischievously and grinned slyly. I want you to transfer my student records to your school. I want to study. Oh, and I also want to be in the same class as Eric Green. This small matter, you can just ask your adoptive parents to handle. I pretended to hesitate as I looked at Penny, sighing deeply. Little sister, I'm also living under someone else's roof. They won't listen to me. I'm sorry, I can't help you, but don't worry, I'll find someone to help you. Penny was initially furious, but her face instantly lit up with joy when she heard I could find someone to help her. Who are you getting to help me? I curled the corner of my mouth and pulled out my phone to make a call. After hanging up, Penny anxiously pressed me. Who did you call? Tell me now. I patted her shoulder reassuringly with a smile. Don't worry, little sister, he'll be here soon. Before long, Officer Lee came over with 2 other officers. I waved at him while holding Penny's hand to keep her from running away. Little sister, if there's anything wrong, tell the police officers. They'll definitely help you. Penny, realizing she'd been tricked, grew furious and was about to curse at me. I gently rolled up her sleeve and showed Officer Lee the scars on her arm. They were clearly marks from beatings. Officer, isn't abusing minors illegal? I think this deserves a thorough investigation. Officer Lee and the 2 other officers took this seriously and pulled Penny aside for questioning. Penny, never having been in such a situation before, grew flustered and kept looking my way. I waved at her, then got into James' family car and left the school. Later I heard from Officer Lee that Duncan's parents rushed to the police station and took Penny away. I reckon Penny won't have an easy night. After all, our alcoholic father loves domestic violence best. During dinner, I deliberately brought this up with Mr. James. Dad, it seems my former sister is being kept at home. She came begging me to help solve her schooling problem. Sigh, I didn't want to get involved originally, but she was blocking the school gate at that time, and even Eric Green witnessed it. Didn't Dad tell me to build good relations with Eric Green? I'm so afraid he might think poorly of me for not helping. I'm so terrible. If this ends up affecting our James family's reputation later, it would be awful. Jack laughed wildly nearby, his face full of contempt. Truly country bumpkins, the whole family are country bumpkins, even the sister is so unsophisticated. I say, old man, why don't you hurry up and kick this woman out? I sighed worriedly. I've finally managed to strike up conversations with Eric Green recently. And he seems to have a good impression of me. I'm just afraid today's incident might give him the wrong idea. What should I do then? It's fine if it's just me being misunderstood, but if it leads to misunderstandings about our James family, and gets mentioned in front of outsiders, affecting father's reputation, what then? Mr. James heard this, calculated for a moment, then looked at me with a beaming smile. What's so difficult about this? Let's just give your sister a hand. Doesn't she want to study? That's a good thing. We'll help her. How about this? We'll put her in the same class as Jack. I'll take care of it. Nancy, remember to explain this properly to young Master Green. Make absolutely sure there are no misunderstandings. Understood. I smiled sweetly and nodded quickly. Understood. Thank you, Dad. Jack frowned and was about to speak when Mr. James shot him a glare. He pressed his lips together and gave me an annoyed look. After dinner Jack stopped me at the bedroom door. Nancy James, what exactly are you trying to do? And you even shoved your sister into my class. What? Trying to mess with me? It's hilarious. Clearly Mr. James was afraid Penny would cause trouble, so he assigned her to Jack's class to have Jack keep her in check. Yet Jack can't even see through something this obvious. What a complete idiot. I raised an eyebrow and grabbed him by the collar. Jack, aren't you bored out of your mind every day? How about I get you a toy? Jack froze momentarily, looking puzzled. A toy? What do you mean? I chuckled lightly and gave him a nudge. You think I don't know about your little mess at school? If I tell your father, do you really think you'll be allowed to stay in the country? If you get shipped overseas, there won't be any place for you in the James family. Jack glared fiercely and grabbed my wrist. You're threatening me. Don't forget, you're just an adopted daughter, even if I go abroad. The James family will still be mine. Jack, read more books. Adopted daughters have equal inheritance rights. I sank my teeth into his arm. He yelped in pain and released my hand, immediately raising his own to strike back, but I was quicker. My palm cracked across his face before he could move. Jack, understand your position. Right now, my standing in the James family surpasses yours. You're just the useless son of the first wife. Do you really think the old man favors you? He only keeps you around to save face. How about we work together, Jack? I have no interest in James' family, and I won't compete with you for James' property. You just need to do me a favor. Do what you're best at. Jack pursed his lips and pondered for a long time. No rush. Take your time to think. When Penny joins your class, you can bully her however you like. Before long, Penny entered Jack's class. She was overjoyed and made a special trip to our class to show off to me. See? Even without your help, I can still succeed. Doggy Duncan, you've already missed your chance to curry favor with me. Just wait. When you're down and out, I absolutely won't lift a finger to help you. I ignored her and kept my head down, continuing to work on practice problems. I've always been clear about what should be done at what time. This was no time to waste on someone like her. Penny, seeing that I was ignoring her, she pouted discontentedly. Hey, are you listening to me or not? She snatched my book and was about to throw it on the ground when a deep male voice came from behind. Classmate, move aside. I looked up and gazed alongside Penny. Unexpectedly, it was Eric Green. Penny's eyes lit up upon seeing Eric Green, immediately tossing her book onto me before turning to lean against Eric Green. Eric Green, brother, it must be you who helped me, right? I knew it. You must have fallen in love with me at first sight. Eric Green frowned and pushed Penny away in disgust. Where did this lunatic come from? I couldn't help but burst out laughing nearby. Penny shot me a resentful glare before turning back to beam sweetly at Eric Green. Brother Eric Green, it's all right. It doesn't matter if you don't understand now. The time just hasn't come yet. Once we're in university, you'll definitely fall for me. No sooner had she spoken than a book flew through the doorway and hit Penny on the head. Jack barged in recklessly and slapped Penny on the head. "Who said you could run around and cause trouble here?" Penny started trembling uncontrollably the moment she saw Jack. She must have been remembering everything from their past life. She looked at me pleadingly, wanting me to help her. I silently lowered my head and continued working on my practice problems. Jack kicked Penny again, gripping her hair tightly. "What are you spacing out for? Didn't you hear what I said? Do what you're supposed to," Penny cried out in fear, her tear-filled eyes looking pleadingly at Eric Green. "Eric Green," Jack punched Penny in the face. "You stupid girl, who are you looking at? Who do you think will help you?" Jack stopped dawdling and grabbed Penny by the hair, dragging her outside. Penny screamed while shouting at me, "Big sister, aren't you going to help me?" Several classmates nearby gathered around and patted me on the shoulder. "Nancy James, why did that person call you sister? Are you sisters?" I smiled and shook my head. "No, she probably mistook me for someone else. Penny thinks she can use public opinion to pressure me. How utterly foolish. Though we're twins, we don't look that much alike." The people around nodded silently after hearing this. "That's right, Nancy James, you're the top student in our grade. There's no way you'd be associated with such a lunatic." "Exactly," and she just threw herself at Eric Green, convinced that Eric Green would fall for her at first sight. Hilarious. I curled my lips slightly and lowered my head quietly. The academic workload in senior year was utterly tedious, so whenever gossip like this surfaced, classmates would inevitably indulge in extensive discussions. Penny got to experience the limelight ahead of schedule. Beside me, Eric Green tapped on my desk. I looked up at him in confusion. "I've been completely focused on studying lately and haven't had any involvement with him. Which university are you planning to apply to?" I smiled and shook my head. "Haven't decided yet." Eric Green nodded and handed me the flyer he was holding. "Let's apply to University A together." Having said that, he returned to his seat. I glanced over. It happened to be University A's promotional flyer. I looked toward Eric Green's direction and frowned. This is completely different from my previous life, but it's not surprising. After all, in this life my identity has been swapped with Penny, which has unknowingly changed many things. But I didn't hear Mr. James mention anything about Eric Green's sister having an accident. So his sister should still be healthy now. Then the current Eric Green probably isn't targeting me. Then why did he suddenly invite me to apply for University A together? Just because I snatched his perennial first-place position, making him notice me, or has he also been reborn? But I immediately dismissed the thought. Eric Green couldn't possibly be reborn. If he were reborn, he would have rushed to take his sister for treatment instead of making things so complicated. Never mind. Soldiers are warded off by generals, floods are stemmed with earth, whatever Eric Green's purpose may be. I hold the advantage. This time, I can only win. Penny has been visiting our class frequently ever since she ran into Eric Green, claiming she wants to build rapport with Eric Green, and Jack would appear at this moment to drag Penny back. Sometimes I feel these two are quite well matched. One loves to inflict violence, the other loves to endure it. They're practically made for each other. Eric Green paid no attention to Penny, but instead came to ask me about homework every other day. I tested him several times and found he was genuinely just asking about homework, so I stopped refusing, treating it as a chance to review the material myself. After all, this was exactly the kind of situation Mr. James loved to see. When I casually mentioned this to Mr. James, he was overjoyed, buying me bags and depositing pocket money into my account. I didn't refuse either, accepting everything one by one, although I told Jack I wouldn't compete with him for James' family's property. But when it's given freely, how could I possibly refuse? As the college entrance exams drew nearer, Penny actually started visiting our classroom more frequently. She didn't seem worried at all about failing her college entrance exams. She was convinced she could inherit my luck, get into University A, win the lottery, live in a villa, and make Eric Green fall for her at first sight. I had no intention of warning her. On the contrary, not only would I not help her, I was going to sabotage her. On the eve of the college entrance exams, I stopped Jack from going out to party. "So, Penny, do you like this gift?" Jack sneered and looked me up and down. "Nancy James, you're something else. Penny is your own sister, and you really don't care at all. You're truly wicked through and through." I rolled my eyes speechlessly. "Jack, I've told you to read more books. Stop randomly using four-character idioms. It makes you look stupid." "You," irritated. I slapped away Jack's pointing finger. "Cut the crap, Jack. You must be getting tired of playing with Penny by now." Jack raised an eyebrow. "Oh, How'd you know? What, gonna gift me a new toy? I sneered. College entrance exams are coming, I don't want to see her at the test center, understand? Jack smirked devilishly. Oh, want my help? Then what's in it for me? I pulled out a USB drive and waved it in front of him. I know you hate Mrs. James, after all. She was the other woman who ruined your parents' marriage. I have evidence of her infidelity over the past 2 years. Help me with this, and I'll give you all the materials. When the time comes, the entire James family will be yours. Jack's eyes lit up, and he reached out to snatch the USB drive. I was prepared and pulled my hand back. To do, or not to do? Jack shot me a resentful glare before reluctantly withdrawing his hand. What should I do? I shrugged my shoulders. How you do it is your business. I only care about the results. I waved the USB drive at him again and left with a smile. Actually, there was nothing on the USB drive. I was just bluffing Jack. But Jack, after all, was just a teenager who couldn't tell truth from fiction. The day before the college entrance exam, Penny made a special effort to find me. Doggy Duncan, what's the use of reading so many books? You won't pass anyway, not like me. I don't need to study normally, but I'll still get into University A, win the jackpot, and live in a villa. Just thinking about it makes me ecstatic. Oh, I forgot to tell you, Eric Green invited me to review at a hotel tonight. Don't be jealous. I smiled at her and said, why would I be jealous? If you can really marry into a wealthy family, then of course I'd congratulate you. I took out a gift box from my bag and shoved it into her hands. Perfect timing. This is the graduation gift I prepared for you. You can wear it in the evenings too. Doggy Duncan gave me a suspicious glance before lowering his head to open the gift box. It was a necklace. The corners of her lips curled slightly, yet her words dripped with disdain. TCH, what a piece of junk. Who'd even want to wear this? But don't think about taking it back either. Since it's a gift for me, I'm definitely keeping it. Alright, keep burying your nose in those books then. The ending's already written anyway. Doggy Duncan waved me off and turned to leave the classroom. Though I noticed, the moment she stepped outside, she put that necklace right on. I can rest easy now. After all, I had prepared it meticulously for her. Early the next morning, I got up bright and early to head to the exam site. Mr. and Mrs. James even made a special trip to see me off. Looking up with feigned innocence, I asked Mr. James, Daddy, why can't I see Big Brother? Isn't Big Brother taking the college entrance exam, Mr. James snorted coldly and stomped his foot in frustration at his son's lack of ambition. Forget about him. If he can't pass the exams, just ship him abroad. Mrs. James seized the moment to comfort Mr. James. Our Nancy is truly capable. I heard she's consistently ranked first in her grade. Getting into a top university won't be a problem at all. Mr. James felt considerably relieved upon hearing Mrs. James' words and gave me a pat on the shoulder. Nancy, you must remember to get into Eric Green's school. I know, Dad. I specifically asked him. He's planning to go to University B. Mr. James nodded approvingly. After I left the exam hall, I saw that Jack had sent me quite a few photos. Everything belongs to Penny. There are also Penny's moaning videos in bed. I didn't expect Jack to send me these. After all, I've been prepared for this all along. I hid Penny's necklace with a camera inside, so I've long had the video of their passionate night together, but one more wouldn't hurt. I clicked save one by one, ignoring Jack. Penny, however, sent me numerous messages and made dozens of calls. She must be really anxious now, especially after coming to mock me so confidently just yesterday. Today, she didn't even make it to the college entrance exam, but she shouldn't panic just yet. This is only the beginning. I'll settle things with her slowly after I finish my exams. I turned my phone off completely and didn't turn it back on until after the college entrance exams. Jack sent me numerous messages asking where I was, why I wasn't coming home, and when I'd give him the USB drive. These past few days I've been staying at a nearby hotel to avoid trouble. I turned my phone off again, so naturally he couldn't reach me, but I'm not worried at all. I saw Mrs. James' message to me. Jack has already been sent abroad. He came home looking for me and happened to run into Mr. James. Mr. James flew into a rage upon learning he hadn't even taken the college entrance exam, and sent Jack abroad that very night. Relieved, I immediately blocked all of Jack's contact information, just worthless trash, used up and ready to be discarded. With Mrs. James around, he'd have a hard time ever returning to the country anyway. I successfully got into University B. While Eric Green naturally went to University A as he had mentioned, he came to ask me why, and I blinked innocently. did I remember wrong? Sorry, I thought you were coming to University B with me. Eric Green looked displeased but still said nonchalantly, it's fine, I can come to you. Nancy James, I have something to tell you. I like you, would you be my girlfriend? I raised an eyebrow and quietly watched him. Eric Green, though well concealed, murderous intent flickered in his eyes. It seems the time has come for his sister's illness, and in this life, Eric Green still set his sights on me. Of course, he'd always believed my sharp mind would ensure his sister's consciousness wouldn't be impaired after transferring into my body. I just contacted Officer Lee recently, and they're still lacking crucial evidence. It seems the unfinished business from my past life still needs to be completed this time. Eric Green, seeing that I hadn't responded for a long time, anxiously grabbed my hand. Nancy James, I like you, really, will you agree to be my girlfriend? I sighed and pushed him away. Green, feelings need time to develop, I can't give you an answer right away, why don't we take it slow? Eric Green pursed his lips, thought it over carefully, and finally agreed. I understood perfectly well but deliberately curled my lips in feigned displeasure. Eric Green, you're pursuing someone without even showing any sincerity. Just empty words, how could I possibly agree? He immediately understood and slapped his forehead in frustration. Sorry, Nancy James, I was too impatient. Yes, he really was impatient. I'm afraid in this lifetime, he must have genuinely had some affection for me at first, but he cared more about his sister. When his sister fell ill, he didn't hesitate to sacrifice me. With the money Mrs. James gave me, I bought a small apartment. This is the reward I got for driving Jack away. I moved out of James's house, while stringing along Eric Green like in my past life, and keeping an eye on Penny's situation. She skipped the college entrance exams and came to James's house to threaten Mr. James, claiming she was raped by Jack. She demanded Mr. James arrange a future path for her. Mr. James already detested Jack and was even less willing to clean up Jack's mess. He directly kicked Penny out of James' house. Penny had nowhere to go and could only return to Duncan's house. After being severely beaten by Duncan's father, she was forced to go to work. Penny still hadn't given up hope. She deliberately chose a job near University A, waiting for the semester to start so she could reunite with Eric Green and begin her Mary Sue fantasy life. Seeing the timing was right, I intentionally forwarded all those videos Jack had sent me to Penny, along with my current location. Before long, Penny came running over. Doggy Duncan, was it you, you little bitch? You're the reason I couldn't get into University A. Just die already, let me tell you. Don't think your cheap tricks can stop me. It won't be long before Eric Green is completely devoted to me, and I'll hit the jackpot soon too. I couldn't help but find it laughable. How could she still be dreaming at this point? Oh really, is that so, Penny? Then why did Eric Green confess his feelings to me? What? Impossible. That's absolutely impossible. She seemed to suddenly realize something, her eyes widening as she gripped my shoulders tightly. Was it your doing? Speak. Shouldn't you have been kicked out by the James family and left homeless by now? Where did you get this place to live? Why is it different from my past life? Eric Green was supposed to pursue me. Did you use some trick again to steal him away from me? You deserve to die. I shook off her hands and slapped her across the face. Penny, you're pathetically naive. Did you think changing your life would make you equal to me? Then why is it still you that Jack bullies, and not me? If you're incompetent, don't blame the uneven road. Since you're already here, I might as well tell you, this weekend Eric Green will come pick me up to meet his parents. Oh, Penny, Penny, you're such a failure. Even in this second life, you've still lost to me. That day Penny never came looking for me again after I drove her out. It wasn't until the weekend, the day I had arranged to meet with Eric Green, I waited at home for a while until I heard knocking, then rose with a smile to open the door. Standing at the doorway was Penny, who immediately shoved me inside and pressed a towel over my mouth and nose. I smelled a pungent odor and soon lost consciousness. When I woke up, I found myself bound hand and foot. Meanwhile, Penny was happily picking out dresses nearby. Seeing I'd regained consciousness, she haughtily lifted her chin and stomped her foot on my stomach. Ha, Doggy Duncan, weren't you so arrogant, thinking you'd won? Now look again, who's really beaten whom? Later, I'll go to Eric Green's house in your place, while you will simply perish in a fire. I glanced indifferently at Penny's face. You don't look that much like me. Eric Green isn't a fool. How will you deceive him? Penny turned her body around and burst into laughter, hilarious, as if I didn't know to wear a mask. Just cover everything but the eyes. Problem solved. It's not like we resemble each other anywhere except the eyes, right, dear sister? I slowly lowered my head without uttering a word. I feared that persisting one more second would make me laugh out loud. Penny got dressed up once more, checked herself in the mirror, and after making sure everything was perfect, put on her mask and lit the nearby curtains with a lighter. "Goodbye, my dear sister, I'm sure this time, you'll definitely kick the bucket." I didn't say a word, quietly waiting for her to leave. The moment she left, the door to the adjacent bedroom swung open. "He's a bodyguard I specially hired." They immediately put out the fire and untied me. I flexed my hands and turned on the computer. I just saw Penny still wearing the necklace I gave her. "That's just wonderful." I turned on the camera and immediately started a live stream, hiring trolls to broadcast it across the entire internet. At first, netizens entering the stream were all asking questions, confused about what was happening. They only saw a guy driving in front of the camera. Then Penny's voice came through. "Eric Green, brother. Are we going to meet your parents today? What should I do? I'm a little nervous." Eric Green responded with a faint, and said nothing more. He clearly had no intention of paying attention to Penny. His mind was completely preoccupied with thoughts of his sister. How could he possibly notice the differences between Penny and me? The netizens in the live stream couldn't stay calm after hearing Eric Green's name and began spamming the chat frantically. "Eric Green, am I seeing this right? Is that really Eric Green? I just Baidu searched it. This profile looks exactly like Green family's young master Eric Green. Holy shit, what kind of connections does this streamer have to be hanging out with the richest man's son? No wonder they specially went live to show off. TSK. Turns out we're all just clowns, mere props in their little play." The corners of my lips curled up as I contacted Officer Lee. Before long, Penny and Eric Green arrived at the Green residence. The moment they entered the Green home, Eric Green transformed, coldly grabbing Penny and dragging her toward the basement. Penny grew frantic, repeatedly calling out for Eric Green. "Eric Green, Eric Green, where are you taking me?" Eric Green ignored her completely, walking down to the basement and opening the door. Inside sat a pale-faced girl who bore some resemblance to Eric Green. The girl gave Penny a faint glance. "Brother, is this her?" Eric Green nodded and ordered Penny to be tied to the seat next to her sister. "What the hell is going on, and what's with this huge machine? What are they planning to do? Why do I have such a bad feeling about this? I've heard some rumors before about the Green family, that they're involved in shady business. Could they be trafficking people?" Eric Green had no idea his actions were being broadcast live across the internet as he walked up to his sister and gently kissed her. "Be good now, rest for a while. You'll have a new body to use soon." Penny finally realized something was wrong and began struggling desperately. Eric Green's subordinate found her troublesome and simply knocked her unconscious. Eric Green nodded, and his subordinates began restraining Penny's limbs, placing a device on Penny's head. Meanwhile, Eric Green personally fitted the device onto his sister. When everything was ready, Eric Green walked to the console and pressed the button. The next second, the basement door swung open. It was Officer Lee and his team who arrived. I promptly cut off the camera feed and ended the live stream. The Green family members were all taken away. The Green's misdeeds were exposed online. Only then did netizens realize what Eric Green had intended to do during that day's live stream. A flurry of scathing insults ensued. Meanwhile, some passionate netizens dug up past news reports to expose those suspected elites who had allegedly changed shells. The stock prices of these individuals' companies were all affected to some degree. Seizing the moment, police arrested a series of related personnel. Eric Green's younger sister and Penny did not successfully undergo the transplant, passing away not long after due to cancer. Penny, who could have been considered a victim, was still taken away by the police. Because I reported her, she intentionally set the fire and attempted murder, which should be enough to keep her behind bars for a good long while. Mr. James, because of the Green family incident, dared not entertain any wild fantasies and obediently kept his head down. Having lost my usefulness, he naturally couldn't be bothered with me. Anyway, I've stopped contacting them. This was also Mrs. James's desired outcome. The inner circle underwent a major reshuffle, with former aristocratic families declining one after another while many nouveaux riches emerged. I selected one from among these and made an investment. A few years later, I graduated from university. Having already made a fortune, it was more than enough for me to retire comfortably. However, many companies extended olive branches to me. After some consideration, I chose one and worked there for several years. Then I ventured out on my own and started a company. Penny, after entering, she caused trouble several times and was disciplined by the leading sister inside before finally behaving. However, She kept insisting on seeing me. I refused, as I was genuinely busy. I took half of the money I earned and established a foundation dedicated to helping abducted children and families who lost their children, assisting them in reuniting. I deeply understand that even if one green family falls, thousands upon thousands of other green families will rise up. Human nature is wicked and selfish. In the face of profit and desire, there will always be those who tread on knife's edge committing illegal crimes. All I can do is try my utmost to help those in need, guard this pure land of mine. After hearing the first story above, what are your thoughts? Feel free to share your opinions in the comments section. Next, there is another similar story. Let's continue to see. My younger sister used me to build her upright persona, falsely accusing me of cheating on the college entrance exam. It cost me my chance at guaranteed admission to Peking University. She cried in front of the cameras, leaning into my boyfriend's arms. I just thought sister cheating would hurt other students. Was I wrong? When I found evidence proving my innocence, my parents forbade me from speaking out. What if my sister becomes so viral online and this whole thing blows up? It's just one college entrance exam. You're so smart. You'll have other opportunities. Furious, I tore up my early admission letter. She wants fame and a perfect image. Does that mean she deserves to ruin my entire life? My sister pretended to regret her actions and ran to the rooftop, threatening suicide. To protect her, my parents claimed during a live broadcast that I was jealous of her and wanted to drive her to death. My boyfriend also lied, saying he had personally witnessed me preparing cheat sheets in advance. On the day my sister left for university, I was notified that I was banned from taking the college entrance exams for 3 years, so I jumped to my death. After being reborn, I returned to the college entrance examination hall where I was taking the test with my younger sister. Teacher, there seems to be something on the floor. As the invigilator approached, my sister Heidi nervously raised her hand, then pointed at me with trembling fingers. It seems to have fallen from her desk. The invigilator's gaze followed Heidi's pointing finger and glared at me, bending down to pick up the small paper ball from the floor. I didn't miss the fleeting triumph in Heidi's eyes. Unfortunately, I'd already experienced this scene once before. As the invigilator unfolded the paper ball, I quickly scanned the examination hall with my peripheral vision, confirming it was identical to my previous life. So the contents of that paper ball should also be, student, bringing mathematical formulas into the exam hall is cheating. Sure enough, the invigilator held up the unfolded cheat sheet high, looking at me with utter disdain. This isn't mine, I retorted without changing my expression, but the invigilator didn't believe me at all. If you're cheating, then get out. Could you stop making noise in the exam hall? You're disturbing others. Disgruntled murmurs rose from surrounding examinees as the invigilator, realizing the commotion, reached to pull me up. This cheating student, I demand you leave the examination room immediately. I told you. This isn't mine. I shook off her hand and stared directly at her. Can you swear it was me cheating? In my previous life, I had to leave the examination hall precisely because I was afraid of disturbing other examinees, hoping to prove my innocence outside. After all, I had already secured a recommendation for admission to Peking University. My college entrance exam results were practically irrelevant. There was simply no need for me to cheat. But once outside, I wasn't given any chance to defend myself, with Heidi and other examinees testifying against me. I was directly convicted of cheating and stripped of my recommendation. I stood up straight and took a few steps forward until I was towering over Heidi. Do you dare take responsibility for your accusation just now, Heidi? Heidi looked up in shock, but when she met my righteous gaze, she guiltily averted her eyes. I only said it seemed, so you're falsely accusing me, I roared. All the examinees present lost their focus on answering questions, turning their heads to watch the commotion. Even the invigilator froze in shock. After all, no one had ever caused such a scene during the National College Entrance Examination before. I grabbed Heidi's ponytail and forced her to meet my gaze. Speak, you were sitting in the front row. How could you possibly have seen the cheat sheet fall from my desk? Everything had completely derailed from Heidi's plan. She was utterly stunned, blankly forced to look up at me. With just your, it seems like, you can casually convict me. Do you know how serious the consequences of being accused of cheating are? I didn't mean to. Heidi's eyes were red, tears rolling down her cheeks. I was just too nervous. I'm already tired of seeing her act like this. First, they casually lied to deceive people, and when caught, immediately turned on the waterworks to play the victim card, fishing for sympathy. Classmate, come with me outside to handle this first. Don't disturb the others, go out with you to handle it. I turned my head and glared fiercely at the proctor. You just accused me of cheating outright. I don't trust your handling of this situation. If you don't trust her, what about me? A sharp male voice came from the doorway. Standing at the entrance was John, the uncle of my boyfriend Charles and also the chief invigilator of this examination center. He declared righteously, "Don't disturb the other examinees. You two sisters should first. What do you have to be trusted about?" I sneered and spoke. "Your nephew is also a candidate this year. You're completely unqualified to invigilate." John froze upon hearing this. It never occurred to him that I would disregard my boyfriend and directly expose this relationship. "Sister, it's fine if you misunderstand me. I can endure it." Heidi seemed to have finally found the moral high ground and tearfully challenged me. "Just because you've been admitted to Peking University without exams, do you think you can casually disrupt other students taking the test?" I calmly surveyed the examinees around me with their varied expressions. "You know I've already secured my admission. My college entrance exam scores are practically irrelevant. Why would I take such a risk to cheat? Besides, for an incident of this scale, we could apply for a full retake of the entire exam. Why should I bear this blame without any clear reason?" Director John had never been so openly defied before, his displeasure evident as he frowned. "Jenny, even if we could retake the entire exam, you can't just act so recklessly. What gives you the right to call me reckless?" I cut him off. "Heidi falsely accused me first, and the proctor immediately ruled that I cheated without distinguishing right from wrong. You're an unqualified invigilator showing blatant favoritism in the exam hall. Who exactly are you trying to get killed?" I pointed at the surveillance camera directly behind the examination room. "I demand we call the police immediately and review the footage. If I'm proven innocent, all three of you will be held accountable." Heidi's face turned deathly pale, her entire body trembling like a sieve. I thought a simple accusation would be enough to drag me down easily, but little did they know I didn't even spare Director John a second glance. "How dare you accuse me of false charges?" Heidi screamed hysterically, rushing forward to grab my collar. I didn't. With a cold laugh, I clamped down on her wrist and shoved her away violently. "You didn't? No problem. After I call the police and retrieve the surveillance footage, you'll see perfectly clearly whether you did or not." As I spoke, I ignored her clawing and made my way to the podium, where the only available communication device, a walkie-talkie, was placed for contacting the supervising teacher outside in case of emergencies during the exam. "Hello, teacher," the walkie-talkie responded promptly. I deftly dodged Heidi's lunge toward me, slapped her hard across the face, and continued, "Candidate in exam room 801 is falsely accusing others of cheating and is now attacking fellow candidates. Please call the police immediately." The supervising teacher on the other end clearly hesitated for a moment but quickly snapped into action upon hearing Heidi's screams and cries, promising to alert the authorities right away and urging us to stay calm. Now Heidi was truly panicking. She never expected I'd actually call the police, disregarding our sisterly bond. After all, though our parents had always favored her, I'd endured it as the elder sister, turning a blind eye to her childish provocations. Years of parental partiality had numbed me. I just wanted to get into university quickly and escape this household, but Heidi tried to take even my sole chance of escape away from me. "Then don't blame me for what comes next. You actually called the police." She took 2 disbelieving steps back, her bloodshot eyes glaring at me as if she wanted to tear me apart. "How could you call the police?" I stared at her coldly. The faint sound of police sirens drifted through the window, but Heidi suddenly turned and bolted toward the classroom door. Director John, standing at the door, grabbed her, only to be violently shaken off. As their gazes locked, I keenly noticed Professor John following Heidi's line of sight, his eyes flickering toward the surveillance camera mounted on the back wall of the classroom. Heidi desperately raced toward the rooftop just as the bell signaling the end of the exam rang. Countless examinees watched as she frantically dashed onto the rooftop platform. I've already guessed what she's about to do, putting on a show of jumping off a building to prove her innocence and emotionally blackmail others. She pulled this exact stunt in her past life. How boring. I leisurely followed the crowd of onlookers heading upstairs. My shoulder was suddenly slammed into hard, followed by a tall, slender male voice gripping my wrist and pulling me upstairs without explanation. "Heidi is going to jump off the building to kill herself, and here you are dawdling. Do you even have a heart?" He dragged me along while shouting angrily. The surrounding examinees all turned to look at us. I curled my lips into a smirk and sneered, "Charles, are you my boyfriend or Heidi's?" Charles abruptly stopped in his tracks and turned to stare at me as if I were a monster. "Your sister is about to commit suicide, and you're still hung up on this petty nonsense. What a shabby affair." I chuckled inwardly, not missing the fleeting guilt in his eyes. The rooftop wind cut into my face like icy blades. Though the sun shone brightly, the wind lashed at my skin with stinging force, just as painfully as Heidi had been slapped in the face. She stood on the edge of the rooftop, sobbing hysterically and screaming, yet her elbows clung tightly to the guardrail, as if wishing she could tie herself to it with an unbreakable knot. "Why would you say that about me? I never made false accusations." I saw that crumpled paper with formulas fall from Jenny's desk with my own eyes. She was cheating, though distraught. Her hair fluttered wildly, and clear tears streamed down her beautiful face, painting a picture of shattered elegance. Charles looked at her with heartbroken tenderness in his eyes. "Heidi, don't be impulsive." He took a few steps forward, opening his arms to her. "Come here first, okay?" Seeing Heidi still stubbornly staring at me, he gave me a hard shove, pushing me into a more conspicuous position. "Jenny, say something, talk some sense into Heidi." His tone was frantic, as if his own mother were standing on a rooftop, and the way he glared at me was like staring down his father's murderer. If I didn't know about his dirty little affair with Heidi, I'd have thought he was some merciful saint. The giant Buddha would have had to come down from its mountain just to make room for him to meditate. I gave him a half smile and shrugged. "What do you want me to say? I didn't do anything. How about we wait for the police?" At the mention of the word police, Heidi seemed injected with stimulants, spiraling into hysteria again. "I know you've always disliked me, sister, but you've already secured your spot. Why must you still harm me? What exactly did I do wrong? Is it a crime to honestly report cheating? Do I have to die for you to be satisfied, sister?" The chief examination supervisor and principal, who rushed over anxiously, also grew alarmed upon hearing Heidi's words. "Student Jenny, don't be willful, your life is what matters most." The principal then turned to Heidi and tried to persuade her gently. "Don't worry, student, we will definitely clear your name. Please don't act rashly. You can retake this exam, but you can't relive your life." I sensed the surrounding gazes, some probing, some accusatory, all converging on me. While Charles also looked at me with disappointment, silently condemning my indifference and cruelty. "And they're supposed to be sisters. Isn't this just blatantly pushing someone to their death? I think she might actually be innocent. She wouldn't gamble her own life just to falsely accuse her own sister, would she? Who says guaranteed admission means she couldn't have cheated? Maybe she just got carried away chasing thrills and crashed." The surrounding voices grew louder, almost all of them hurling accusations at me. Standing at the edge of the rooftop, Heidi wore a secretive, triumphant smile. I rubbed my temples and took 2 steps forward. Charles thought I was going to persuade Heidi and shoved me, urging me to hurry, move faster. "What are you dawdling for?" I turned my head and flashed him a vicious grin. Then suddenly, I dashed towards Heidi at full speed, amidst her screams. I pried open her elbows that were desperately clinging to the railing and dragged her off the rooftop with me. "Didn't you want to die? Wanted to prove your innocence with your life? Then let's die together. Don't know how to jump? No problem, let big sister teach you." After those weightless seconds, we both crashed heavily onto the air rescue cushion that had been prepared earlier. Heidi lay beneath me, staring blankly upward on the cushion, her face pale and lips trembling uncontrollably. "Jenny, are you insane?" Charles rushed over swiftly, pushing me away without mercy as he pulled Heidi into his embrace. Heidi's pallid little face nestled against his chest, looking utterly pitiful. Heidi and I look almost identical, except she's more delicate and fragile, always appearing pitifully charming. Charles must love her precisely for that demeanor. "Ha," I sneered coldly. "Only useless men would choose women who are weaker and easier to control. Too bad Heidi isn't as easy to handle as he thinks." "You're insane, Jenny. This is the 14th floor. If you want to die, why drag Heidi into it? Apologize to Heidi right now." I stared at this man who had begged me repeatedly to give him extra tutoring and predict exam questions just before the college entrance exams. Even his once pleasingly handsome face had now become disgustingly greasy. Indeed, masculine virtue is the best cosmetic for men. A man lacking virtue becomes utterly repugnant. I wagged my finger and smirked teasingly. First, it's obvious who's actually insane. Second, Heidi wanted to jump off a building to prove her innocence. As her elder sister, I merely gave her a helping hand. Charles's expression grew increasingly grim. "All things considered, Heidi should be thanking me." "Come on, Heidi, say thank you to your sister. Hurry up, don't be so ill-mannered." Heidi stiffened her neck, her face flushing red with anger despite the pallor from her earlier fright of jumping off the building. "Jenny, you've gone too far. You refuse to admit cheating, causing me to jump off the building. Fine, but you also ruined the exam for so many classmates. Now that this has blown up so badly, you've tarnished our school's reputation, exaggerating the situation and using it for moral blackmail. That's her usual tactic." I stepped forward and slapped her across the face. "Cut the moral blackmail crap, Heidi. Save your bullshit for the police station." Heidi spotted the reporters and cameras approaching with the officers. In a flash, she scrambled up, pushed past the police, and lunged toward the cameras, instantly slipping into character as tears began streaming down her face. "I'm so sorry, everyone. It's all my fault for reporting my own sister's cheating and making such a scene." She even tilted her head at the perfect angle for the cameras, fingers delicately tracing the reddened cheek I just slapped, her gaze unwavering. "But I don't regret it. I'm willing to forfeit this college entrance exam to prove my innocence." I watched in astonishment. Even with my second chance at life, I couldn't match her acting skills. I almost wanted to applaud her performance. The police collected statements from examinees at the scene and reviewed surveillance footage from the back wall of the classroom, just like in my previous life. Most examinees were completely unaware of what had happened, and due to an operator error, the surveillance footage had been overwritten during copying, rendering all recordings unreadable. Because Heidi voluntarily gave up her college entrance exam, it made the situation harder to judge, and the police had no choice but to keep me waiting for further investigation. Heidi walked out of the police station with me, only to be whisked away by Charles with his arm around her waist, throwing me a triumphant smile. "But Heidi, this is only the first step in my revenge against you. You won't get any chance to turn things around. I promise you that." Heidi gave up on the college entrance exam without any intention of repeating the year. Riding the wave of attention, she started live streaming under the account name Miracle Heidi. Her streams mainly revolved around recounting the chaos at the exam hall that day or explaining test questions to juniors about to enter their final year of high school. Though not as academically strong as me, she was still first-year university material. Explaining exam questions was effortless for her. Soon, her gentle and upright big sister persona took shape, and public opinion increasingly leaned in her favor. How could such an eloquent and patient girl falsely accuse her own sister? "She's just too upright and stubborn. It breaks my heart." In the live stream, Heidi smiled sweetly, occasionally letting out a bitter smile. "It's not my sister's fault, it's all mine. Giving up the college entrance exam is a bit regrettable, but for my sister, I'm willing to." She spoke ambiguously, subtly throwing shade at me. "It's okay, you can just try again next year. Sister's guaranteed admission is more important." Netizens watching were practically heartbroken for this beautiful, saintly academic genius, showering her with gifts frantically. Rockets and Porsches flooded the stream until it lagged, with some big spenders even vowing to protect the best Heidi sister. Heidi glanced at the gift revenue in the back end, a flash of greed crossing her eyes before she quickly suppressed it, maintaining her sweet smile. "Thank you, brothers, but please stop sending me gifts. I don't want to make money from this. I donate half of every live stream's earnings to children in impoverished mountain areas. They need this money more than I do." The big spenders only sent gifts more enthusiastically. Our sweet Heidi is truly as beautiful inside as she is outside. In contrast, my life doesn't seem to be going so well for the time being. My parents have always favored Heidi, and now because of this accident that forced Heidi to give up her college entrance exam qualification. My originally proud recommendation qualification has become a target of public criticism. They're treating me even worse now. Netizens who don't know the truth but follow trends have found my social media accounts and begun viciously attacking and insulting me, with my high school becoming collateral damage in their online outrage. Just like when Heidi threatened suicide in my previous life. "The principal has come to see me again. Student Jenny, the principal knows you're a good student." The middle-aged man smiled kindly at me, while Director John sitting beside him wore a displeased expression. Because of this examination hall incident, he had to write a self-criticism as collateral punishment and lost all face. He must be grinding his teeth in hatred toward me. "This matter has escalated too far. You're a smart child and should understand the wisdom of hiding one's light under a bushel." As he spoke, he slid an agreement toward me. Written clearly upon it were the words, "Letter of voluntary surrender of guaranteed admission." I curled my lips coldly. "I refuse. Why should I give up my guaranteed admission? Principal, do you have any evidence proving I cheated?" I abruptly shed my usual obedient and well-behaved student demeanor, my face turning cold and aggressive. "Or are you saying I should be held accountable for the consequences of Heidi's madness?" The principal froze momentarily, anger flashing between his brows before he forcibly plastered on a smile. "That's not what we meant, Jenny. It's just that the current public opinion is unfavorable towards you. The school doesn't want you to remain in this state of online bullying. It's harmful to both your physical and mental health. The leadership and elders are all concerned about you." I glanced at my parents standing far away at the corner, craning their necks to peek this way with faces full of expectation. So they were actually this eager for me to give up the guaranteed admission. I sighed, feeling a sudden drain of energy as part of my spirit deflated, my gaze turning vacant. The principal mistook my reaction for being persuaded and pressed on. "Jenny, you're so bright. You'll definitely succeed in next year's college entrance exams. You'll definitely succeed in next year's college entrance exam." In my previous life, everyone persuaded me like this, to let things slide, preserve the school's reputation, and forgive my impulsive younger sister. They said, "You'll definitely pass next year's exam, it's just one more year of preparation." But what happened? On the day Heidi enrolled in university, I received a disciplinary notice stating I was banned from taking the college entrance exam for 3 years. Everything was over. I smiled faintly. "I understand what you mean." Under principal's expectant gaze, I picked up that agreement and tore it in half before everyone. "But I refuse. Don't push your luck, Jenny." Director John, sitting beside me, finally couldn't hold back anymore. He slammed the table and stood up furiously, pointing at me and cursing. "What right do you have to refuse? Talking to you is giving you face. We could easily revoke your guaranteed admission without consulting you." Crossing my legs leisurely, I looked at him with disdain. "Fine, go ahead and revoke it if you dare. But can you bear the consequences, Director G?" The principal quickly patted the furious Director John on the shoulder, then picked up those 2 worthless papers and smiled at me. "It's all right, Jenny, you can take some more time to think about it." Though he was smiling, his tone carried a slowly intensifying threat. "I hope the next time you contact the principal will be when you've made up your mind." I didn't respond, simply stood up and made a "please" gesture. "Take care on your way out, sir." At 8 o'clock that evening, Heidi started her live stream as scheduled once again, dressed in a brand new dress with meticulously applied, no makeup. She flipped open her workbook, ready to solve problems for fans who sent gifts. 2 police officers suddenly barged in through the door. Seeing Heidi cheerfully live streaming caught them off guard, and even their previously expressionless faces flickered with momentary mockery. "Are you Heidi?" Seeing Heidi nod, the 2 officers pulled out an investigation notice, whether intentionally or not, holding it directly toward the live streaming camera, ensuring every viewer saw it clearly. "We've obtained conclusive evidence regarding the cheating incident during the recent exam. You're suspected of cheating and filing malicious false reports. Please come with us." Heidi's face turned ghostly pale, her lips trembling as she whispered faintly, "And no. Impossible, how could there be evidence?" She hastily glanced at the already exploding comments section, but before she could even shut down the live stream, she was promptly escorted to the police station. Meanwhile, a slightly blurry surveillance video began circulating online. In the footage, Heidi buried her head in answering the exam paper for a while before seizing the moment when the invigilator turned away. She pulled out a small slip of paper from her ballpoint pen, crumpled it into a ball in her palm, and tossed it backward through the gap under her arm. Then, putting on an act of timidity, she tremblingly raised her hand. Her faint voice could be heard in the video. "Teacher, there seems to be something on the floor." Then, trembling, she pointed at me sitting diagonally behind her. It seems to have fallen from her desk." The once upright and brilliant beauty who had threatened to jump off a building to prove her innocence by giving up the college entrance exam became a fraud everyone condemned overnight. Some busybodies even calculated Heidi's actual earnings from each live stream, amounting to hundreds of thousands, and compared it to the mere few thousand she donated to impoverished mountain regions, creating a shocking contrast. Even more people flooded back to my social media accounts, calling me the innocent victim with beauty and kindness. Among them were many who had previously hurled insults at me without restraint. When Heidi emerged from the police station, she looked utterly devastated. Spectators who had rushed there specifically pointed fingers and shouted abuse at her. Even my parents forgot about me, spending every day by Heidi's side trying to console her, terrified she might do something drastic. This time, what Heidi lost wasn't just voluntarily giving up one college entrance exam opportunity. Given the severity of the situation, she might face a lifetime ban from taking the Gaokao. To my surprise, the first person to seek me out was Charles, whom I hadn't seen in ages. He asked me to meet him alone at the coffee shop where we had our first date. We had just started dating in our second year of high school, when teachers were cracking down hardest on puppy love. That time, We deliberately wore thick coats to hide our school uniforms, donned hats and masks like thieves, and took the most secluded corner in the cafe. When we took off our hats, we burst into laughter simultaneously. If Charles hadn't been such a foolish and unfaithful person, this memory would truly have been a beautiful keepsake of youth. What a pity that this past incident has now evidently become my digital criminal record. I ordered you an iced cocoa, your favorite, Charles said with a smile that didn't reach his eyes. I leisurely pushed aside the cold drink and waved over the waiter. A glass of lemon water, please. Charles's expression darkened. Youth will be youth, unable to maintain composure when faced with rejection. Jenny, let's talk calmly, okay? I've been wanting to apologize to you. I snorted with laughter. Get to the point, I'm busy. And I still need to go home and enjoy Heidi's theatrics of tears, tantrums, and threats. He grew furious. Jenny, how could you become like this? You're not a cruel person. You know Heidi is my sister, so you knew Heidi was my sister. How did it feel having an affair with my sister? Exciting, you. Charles noticed the waiter's curious glance and lowered his voice. You've really misunderstood, Jenny. Heidi and I are just friends, precisely because she's your sister. I've been looking out for her. I burst out laughing, took a sip of lemon water, and couldn't be bothered to entertain his excuses. Jenny, I know Heidi went too far this time, but she's being cyberbullied every day now. The mental pressure is too much. Just help her this once, say a few words publicly for her, so this matter can pass quickly. Charles clenched his fists, trying his best to restrain himself as he softened his tone to negotiate with me. I've prepared the script for you. You just need to read it and film a 6. Jenny, before he could finish speaking. I flung the lemonade in my hand onto his face. The unmelted ice cubes hit him so hard he couldn't open his eyes, with large lemon slices clinging absurdly to his forehead. Charles's face turned purple with rage as he slammed the table and stood up, but I immediately grabbed the nearby iced cocoa and splashed it at him again. Charles, keep your tail between your legs. Don't say I didn't warn you. Clearly, Charles didn't take my final warning to heart. The next day, Charles started another live stream with Heidi, who was still sniffling and crying. Hello everyone online, I'm Charles, Jenny's boyfriend. On camera, his expression remained composed, but when he mentioned my name, a trace of melancholy bitterness flashed across his smile, as if he'd just received special acting training from Heidi. I watched with great interest, curious to see what fresh hell this despicable pair would cook up next. During this time, my heart has been tormented. I once loved Jenny deeply. She was my first love, but after learning the truth, I couldn't go against my conscience. The truth is, this entire series of events was orchestrated by Jenny herself. Ignoring the abusive comments flooding the live stream, he continued, Jenny was jealous that her younger sister received more affection from their parents. She bullied Heidi relentlessly and even threatened her to bring this note into the exam hall, all to stage this charade together, all just to gain more attention for herself and ruin Heidi's life. He spoke while taking the crumpled little note handed to him by Heidi. This cheat note bears Jenny's handwriting. This is the evidence. I directly requested a live video connection. Heidi seemed to think the evidence was solid enough to turn the tables, so she agreed without hesitation. My video feed appeared in the top right corner of the live stream. I smiled at the camera and waved. Good evening, you cheating scumbags. Charles froze, barely restraining himself from cursing back at me. Heidi, however, smiled faintly. Sister, your words are so harsh. Brother Chen and I really are just ordinary friends. It was sister who did wrong, and Brother Chen chose to break up because he was disappointed in you. Why blame me? I raised an eyebrow. Could you stop making me sick? With that, she pointed her phone at the camera, playing a surveillance clip from inside a coffee shop. The footage showed Heidi sitting on Charles's lap, the two embracing intimately, even sharing a passionate, lingering kiss when emotions ran high. The timestamp in the upper left corner revealed it was taken just 1 week before the college entrance exams. So this is how you ordinary friends communicate. Before I could finish my sarcastic remark, Charles hastily ended the live stream. What a sore loser. I curled my lips and uploaded both the affair video and live stream recording online. Along with them, I posted a teary-eyed selfie video. In the video, holding proof that John, Charles's uncle, served as the chief invigilator at Charles's college entrance exam, I dabbed at my tears with theatrical flair. I know puppy love is wrong, that first loves rarely last, but I never expected to be hurt like this. Just because you've got connections and backing, does that give you the right to slander me without restraint and cheat with my sister? Netizens were stunned by this chain of juicy gossip. It was like randomly pulling a vine in a melon patch. One juicy scandal after another kept surfacing, leaving them unable to stop feasting on the drama. Damn, still busy cheating on their partner a week before the college entrance exams. That's some impressive mental stability. Their own uncle was proctoring the exam hall, a few casual strolls and he could have slipped the answers right to his nephew. All I'm saying is, formula cheat sheets like that are easy to get anywhere. What kind of idiot would force someone to commit fraud using their own handwritten notes? That pair of idiots, that's who. Did they really think the police were just gonna sit around doing nothing? The incident escalated quickly. Within just 2 days, Charles was notified that his college entrance exam results had been invalidated. As for his dear Uncle John, he was outright fired by the school for misconduct and dereliction of duty. Permanently barred from working in the education system again. Meanwhile, Heidi, who had helped scheme alongside them, returned home completely unscathed. Only the way she stared at me left an indescribably uncomfortable feeling. Half a month later, Heidi received the penalty notice banning her from taking the national college entrance exams for life. That night, she slit her wrists in her room. Of course, she couldn't bear to die. She chose to slit her wrists at 10 p.m. sending so-called suicide note texts to me and our parents at 9:59. Her parents broke open her bedroom door and rushed into the bathroom. Within just 3 minutes, Heidi's shallowly slit wrist had only just begun to bleed. She was determined to use death as leverage against her parents. Furious, Dad dragged me out of the bedroom while Heidi, her wrist wrapped in gauze, nestled in Mom's arms, wiping away tears. "Jenny, are you trying to drive your sister to death?" Mom shouted at me. Seeing me lounging lazily on the sofa with my legs crossed, Dad rushed over and slapped me hard across the face. "Your sister almost died. Have you no heart, Jenny?" The force of the blow turned my head aside, my cheek instantly swelling red with a burning sting, my ears ringing incessantly. I curled the corner of my mouth. What did I do? Did I force her to falsely accuse me? Did I force her to cheat with her sister's boyfriend? Did I force her to scam people through live streams? This barrage of questions enraged Father so much that he moved to strike me again. I sprang to my feet and shoved him away violently. "I've done nothing wrong. What right do you have to hit me?" Father staggered from my push and stood frozen in shock. He never imagined that his eldest daughter, who had always been reticent and submissive since childhood, would one day fight back against him. Mother tugged at Father's sleeve at just the right moment, wearing an affectionate yet helpless expression. "Jenny, you're the older sister. You can't disregard your younger sister. If she misses the college entrance exams, her whole life will be ruined." Crossing my arms, I sat down quietly to watch her performance. "Mom's begging you, could you swap identities with Heidi and let her go to college instead? You're so smart, you do just fine even working odd jobs." I laughed in disbelief. Mom mistook my smile as a sign of reconciliation. "Your sisters after all. Heidi will look out for you in the future." "There's something I've always wanted to ask," I suddenly interrupted her. "Am I not your biological child? You've never liked me since I was little. No matter how hard I studied, I never got a word of praise. When I earned that college recommendation, you couldn't even bother to say congratulations." Mom froze, momentarily at a loss for comforting words. Instead, Dad snorted coldly. "Of course you're our biological child. So you should obey obediently. If you keep being this disobedient, then we won't want you as our daughter anymore." In my previous life, when I received the notice banning me from college entrance exams for 3 years, my parents were just about to leave home to accompany Heidi to university registration. They said impatiently, "Just go work odd jobs already. Your sister's already in college anyway. Having her make us proud is enough." With that, they slammed the door shut without even looking back. Standing on the balcony, I stared blankly at their retreating figures, a cozy family of 3, then jumped in despair. After my death, they were too busy sending Heidi off to even bother identifying my body at the police station promptly. Later, they hastily cremated me and left my ashes stored at the funeral home. From the very beginning, I never truly belonged to this family. Why? Just because Heidi knew better how to win their favor, just because I was always awkward except when it came to studying, compared to my early admission offers or my academic achievements. They cared more about Heidi's grievances. Are they trying to vent Heidi's anger by hurting me like this? What's the point of having parents like this anyway? Fine, I smiled faintly, then don't consider me your daughter anymore. Go ahead and spend your whole life guarding Heidi. That high school graduate fool. I stood up and walked over to the potted plant in the corner of the living room, waving at the hidden phone camera nestled within. To the 100,000 viewers online right now, thank you for witnessing this precious moment of me being abandoned by my parents. When Heidi sent me that suicide note text, I had a vague suspicion. She was definitely going to make a big deal out of this suicide attempt. While my parents were busy breaking down her door to save her, I hid my phone in the living room and live-streamed the whole thing. Jenny, you're going to ruin our entire family, Mom shrieked hysterically. I smirked coldly and pointed the camera at her contorted face. Don't say, our family, it's your family, Auntie, rejecting their own daughter who got recommended admission, but accepting cheating criminals. I can't understand this family's logic. My heart aches for Sister Jenny. She's practically surrounded by a family of vampires, already helped Sister report to the police, fully support her cutting ties with those idiot parents. The rapidly refreshing comments in the live stream finally jolted Heidi out of her frozen stupor. She knew her final counterattack had failed completely. She had nothing left. Staggering to her feet, she let out a hysterical giggle. Get lost. Useless trash. She pushed away her mother, who was full of concern and trying to support her, then bent down and grabbed the fruit knife on the coffee table, still stained with traces of her own wrist-cutting blood, while screaming, Jenny, you ruined me, now go die yourself. Brandishing the fruit knife, she charged at me, its blade gleaming with a cold, terrifying light as it aimed straight for my chest. I dropped my phone and calmly seized her wrist, driving my knee hard into her abdomen. With a scream, I brutally twisted her forearm and pinned her to the ground. The phone lying on the floor had its camera perfectly framing her face twisted with fury. Half a month later, I went alone to the university that had granted me direct admission. That night, the police notified by kind-hearted netizens arrived promptly and took the deranged Heidi to the station. They begged me to sign a reconciliation agreement, but I refused, in a fit of anger. They signed a document severing parental ties with me instead. That very day, I packed my meager belongings and moved into the small room rented with my scholarship money. At the school gate stood my parents, whom I hadn't seen in days. I heard Heidi was convicted of intentional assault and sentenced to 6 months detention. Before she could be imprisoned, she fell ill. They said the shock had affected her mental state. My parents secured her medical parole and sent her to a psychiatric hospital in the neighboring city. Jenny, seeing me now, my mother burst into tears instantly, rushing over to clutch at my clothes. How could you be so heartless, not contacting me for so long? I took 2 cold steps back, brushing off non-existent dust from my clothes. What do you want, Auntie? Mom's face instantly turned ashen. Jenny, that's enough. Dad scolded, struggling to suppress his anger. You're being too willful, taking your parents' angry words so seriously. I curled my lip slightly and dragged my suitcase past them both. Dad grabbed my wrist, trying to snatch the suitcase and force me to stop. Without even glancing at him, I shouted at the top of my lungs, help, someone's robbing me in broad daylight. The students registering for school and their parents nearby all turned to look at us with strange expressions. Dad had no choice but to sheepishly let go. I shook my wrist and strode into the campus, embarking on a new life of one's own. After hearing the 2 stories above, what are your thoughts? Feel free to share your opinions in the comments section. Looking forward to hearing from you. If you liked this story, don't forget to like it, share it, and subscribe to my channel. See you next time.